Hello and welcome back to the Movie Memo Recaps. Today we are going to recap a 2023 movie titled Ruthless. Please be advised that there will be spoilers ahead. The film begins with Harry, a former soldier who has transitioned into a wrestling coach at a nearby university. For Harry, wrestling is more than just a profession, it serves as a vital distraction from the haunting memories of his military past. Though the scars of his service linger, coaching young athletes provides him with a renewed sense of purpose and helps stave off the loneliness that quietly envelops his home. One evening, as he steps through his front door, his phone rings. The name Detective Jones flashes on the screen, and an unsettling feeling washes over him, signaling that his life is about to unravel. When he answers, the detective's calm yet heavy voice delivers devastating news. "Harry, I'm calling about your daughter, Jane. She's at the hospital. She's in a coma." Time seems to freeze as the words sink in like a slow poison. His teenage daughter, his little girl, has been attacked. The detective continues, revealing that her boyfriend is in custody. Without waiting for further details, Harry snatches his keys and races to the hospital. Upon arriving, the sight of Jane lying motionless in a hospital bed, surrounded by tubes and monitors, strikes him like a punch to the gut. He takes a seat beside her and grasps her hand, his gaze locked on the rhythmic beeping of the monitor. With a soft voice, he pleads for her to wake up, even though he knows deep down that she cannot hear him. Later that night, Detective Jones arrives, looking weary, the kind of exhaustion born from witnessing too many shattered families. "We got him," he says quietly. He confessed. The detective explains that Jane's boyfriend lost control after she refused to be intimate with him. In a fit of rage, he attacked her, failing to grasp the gravity of his actions and the life-threatening consequences they carried. Harry listens numbly, the words barely register. His daughter, his only child, is lost to him in every way that matters. Weeks pass before justice is served. The court sentences Jane's attacker to life in prison, yet this news brings Harry no solace, only a hollow sense of closure. Justice may have been meted out, but it does nothing to bring Jane back. After the trial, Harry drifts through life like a ghost. He goes through the motions of teaching and coaching, existing but never truly living. Each night, he finds himself alone with a drink in hand, staring at old photographs of Jane, reminiscing about her laughter, her smile, and her teenage sarcasm. Detective Jones checks in on him occasionally. Each time, Harry responds with a forced reassurance, "I'm fine, man." They both know it's a lie. Jones reminds him that he's there if Harry ever needs anything. Harry expresses gratitude but has already begun to shut himself off from the world. One night, seeking an escape from his relentless thoughts, Harry decides to go to the movies. He hopes to lose himself in someone else's story for 2 hours, but even this small reprieve proves fleeting. A few rows ahead of him, a young man begins harassing his girlfriend, dismissing her pleas for him to stop. Watching the scene unfold stirs something deep within the soldier that still resides in Harry. He stands up and confronts the young man. "Hey," she said, "no. Leave her alone." The aggressor turns around, irritation etched on his face as he hurls popcorn at Harry. "Mind your business, old man," he retorts defiantly. As the movie concludes and patrons begin to exit the theater, Harry walks out calmly. However, the young man follows him outside, puffed up with misplaced bravado. In that moment, Harry feels the stirrings of his old self awaken once more, a mixture of anger and protectiveness ignited by the injustice he has witnessed yet again. Harry had always preferred to avoid trouble. "Kid, if you want to act tough, go somewhere else," he said evenly, trying to diffuse the tension. But in that moment, a guy pulled a knife, a grave mistake. Reacting instinctively, Harry moved with swift, controlled precision, honed from his military training. Within seconds, the knife clattered to the ground, and the punk was left gasping for air. Without uttering another word, Harry simply walked away. The next day found Harry back at the gym, immersed in his work with his students. Among them was Katia, a bright and determined girl who reminded him so much of his own daughter, Jane. There was a fire in her eyes, but also a quiet sadness that she tried to conceal. Recognizing her potential, Harry took her under his wing, not just as a coach but as a mentor. He encouraged her to push herself, to study hard, and to fight for a better future. In her, he saw the reflection of the daughter he had lost. That evening, Katia returned home to find her stepfather, Tom, waiting for her in a foul mood. "Where's the food?" he snapped. She explained that she hadn't had time to prepare anything, but Tom was indifferent to her excuses. Frustrated, she slammed her bedroom door, only for him to burst in moments later, shouting about her disrespect. Before she could respond, he struck her across the face. "Get out if you can't follow the rules," he yelled. Shaking with anger, Katia fought back verbally, but the situation quickly escalated until her mother, Linda, rushed in to break it up. Exhausted from the shouting and the pain that had become her daily reality, Katia made a decision. She was done. Despite Linda's desperate pleas for her to stay, Katia walked out, tears streaming down her face and mingling with her anger. Later that night, Harry spotted her sitting alone at a bus stop, looking lost and broken. Something deep within him stirred at the sight. He pulled over and approached her gently. "You okay?" he asked. She hesitated before nodding. Offering her a ride, they ended up at a small diner where they shared burgers and fries. As they ate, Katia opened up about everything: the mistreatment by her stepdad and the feeling of being unwanted at home. Harry listened intently, struggling to contain his anger as he absorbed her words. "You should go back," he suggested softly. "Your mom's probably worried sick." "I'll talk to Tom." Katia looked uncertain, but Harry reassured her with sincerity. "You're like a daughter to me. I'm not going to let him hurt you again." Those words struck a chord within her, and she agreed to return home. Harry drove her back, promising to check in on her the next day. When practice ended the following afternoon, Harry noticed a dark bruise on Katia's cheek, and his stomach dropped. Tom had done it again. He handed Katia some cash for food before heading straight to her house. When Tom opened the door, Harry remained calm but firm. "You lay another hand on her," he warned, "and I'll make sure you end up in jail for child abuse." Tom laughed mockingly in response. "She's my problem, not yours." That was when Harry snapped. He grabbed Tom's arm and twisted it hard, his voice cold and unwavering. "Then start acting like a father." Just then, Katia walked in with a takeout bag in hand. Harry instructed her to give it to Tom, who glared at them both but remained silent. With a hint of defiance and a half-smile on her face, Katia tossed the bag toward him, the food landing squarely on his injured arm. For once in her life, she felt someone standing up for her. The following morning brought an unexpected summons to the police station for Harry. Tom had filed an assault complaint against him. There, Detective Jones looked surprised as Harry explained everything: the abuse, Katia's bruises, and the threats that loomed over them. Jones listened carefully and promised to investigate quietly, believing Harry's account without question. "Don't say anything for now," Tom advised, his voice low and conspiratorial. "Let me handle it." Unbeknownst to Harry, however, Tom had other plans brewing. He reached out to his dubious friend Sergio, an associate of Rich, a notorious crime boss entangled in the dark world of human trafficking. As Tom vented about Katia's defiance, Sergio's demeanor remained cold and calculating. "I can offer you $10,000, he proposed, "if you hand her over for a secret auction." Without a moment's hesitation, Tom agreed. The deal was struck. Once Katia finished her classes, she would be taken. Later that day, Tom called Katia, masking his intentions with a facade of concern. "Hey, I'm sorry about earlier," he said smoothly. "Let me pick you up from school, and I'll grab your mom for work too." Surprised by his sudden kindness, Katia agreed, blissfully unaware that she was walking straight into a trap. That evening, Harry's phone rang again. It was Detective Jones, his tone urgent. "We just received a missing person report," he said. "A woman named Linda is looking for her daughter, Katia." Harry's blood ran cold at the mention of the name. It struck him like a bolt of lightning. The girl who reminded him so much of his own daughter had vanished. Without wasting a second, he jumped into his car and sped to her school, hoping to find any clue about her whereabouts. Upon arrival, he cornered the security guard and demanded to see the surveillance footage from the previous day. The guard hesitated at first, but Harry's determined expression made it clear that small talk was not on the agenda. When the video began to roll, Harry's heart sank. There was Katia, getting into Tom's car, the same man who had claimed to care for her, the same stepfather who had been warned to stay away. In that single frame, everything clicked into place for Harry. Tom was involved in her disappearance. Without waiting for further confirmation, Harry stormed off to confront Tom. When Tom opened the door, he wore his usual smug grin, as if nothing had happened. "Where's Katia?" Harry barked, his voice laced with urgency. Tom shrugged, leaning against the wall with feigned confidence. "She ran away again." "That's what she does, right?" But Harry could see through the facade. Tom was lying. The casual tone and the smirk pushed Harry over the edge. In a flash, he grabbed Tom by the collar and slammed him against the wall, demanding the truth. When Tom continued to refuse to talk, Harry lost control. He hit him once, then twice, until Tom finally cracked under pressure. Okay. I gave her to Sergio," he shouted, blood trickling from his lip and fear evident in his voice. The revelation hit Harry like a lightning bolt. Sergio was the same scumbag connected to the city's underworld. Without allowing Tom a moment to breathe, Harry dragged him outside and forced him into his car. "You're going to take me to him. Now." They drove in tense silence until they reached Sergio's hideout. As Harry burst through the door, Sergio looked startled for a brief moment before bolting deeper inside. But Harry was faster. He tackled him to the ground and pinned him down, fury coursing through his veins. "Where is she?" he demanded. Sergio attempted to maintain an air of toughness at first, but as Harry twisted his arm painfully, a scream of pain escaped his lips. Okay. I handed her over to Rich." He finally confessed. The name sent chills through Harry. Rich was a figure known for his ruthless dealings in the shadows of the city. In that part of town, everyone knew who Sergio was, a notorious crime boss with deep connections to the grim world of human trafficking. Under pressure, Sergio divulged chilling details. Rich, a figure shrouded in infamy, orchestrated secret auctions at a Las Vegas casino where wealthy men bid on kidnapped girls. The highest bidder gained complete control over the victims, a horrifying reality that sent waves of fury coursing through Harry. Determined to take action, he swiftly tied up both Sergio and Tom, leaving them locked in a room to stew in their guilt. With a sense of urgency, he hit the road toward Las Vegas. Before setting off, he called Detective Jones and recounted everything he had learned, the tragic fate that had befallen Katia and where she might be found. Without hesitation, Jones informed Katia's mother, Linda, who insisted on joining the rescue mission despite his concerns. Aware of her tenacity, he reluctantly agreed to let her come along. As Harry arrived at the Las Vegas casino, he steeled himself for the daunting task ahead, walking straight into the lion's den. To infiltrate Rich's operation, he posed as a wealthy buyer. At the front desk, he encountered Dale, the hotel manager, whose narrowed eyes suggested he was privy to more than he let on. "Who told you about the auction?" Dale asked, suspicion lacing his tone. Harry replied smoothly, "Sergio. We go way back. I'm close with the organization." The lie seemed to convince Dale, who believed Harry was part of the inner circle. He handed over a key card and casually informed him that the event would begin at 11 p.m. "Everything's online now," Dale added with a smirk. "You'll see the girls on screen. Place your bid, and if you win, you'll get the pickup details." Once settled into his room, Harry immediately called Detective Jones, who was already at the Las Vegas Police Department. "Don't come in yet," Harry warned him. "I haven't found Katia." Before he could elaborate, Chief Vanessa, overseeing the operation, decided to launch a raid regardless. "You're making a mistake," Harry argued fiercely. "If you go in too early, they'll kill the girls. Let me find them first, then we hit hard." After a tense pause, Vanessa reluctantly agreed to hold off, granting Harry a narrow window to act. When the clock struck 11 p.m., Harry logged into the virtual auction. One by one, screens flickered to life, revealing terrified young girls being paraded before bidders. Then Katia's face appeared, and time seemed to freeze. She looked frightened but alive. Without hesitation, he entered a bid, escalating the price with each passing second. However, another bidder, a wealthy man from the Middle East, persistently raised the stakes. Despite Harry's desperate efforts, he ultimately found himself outbid as the screen went dark. Frustrated, he slammed his laptop shut and called Jones again. "They've sold her," he said urgently. "Start moving the team. The casino's just a front, the real location is off-site. I'm going to find her myself." While Jones coordinated the police response, Harry began scouring the hotel for clues. After cornering Dale once more, he applied pressure until the truth spilled out. Katia was being held at Rich's warehouse near the airport. Harry quickly relayed the address of the warehouse to Detective Jones before setting off, determined to act before backup could arrive. Upon reaching the imposing structure, he adopted the guise of one of Rich's buyers, claiming to be there to collect his recent purchase. Martin, Rich's vigilant right-hand man, stood guard at the entrance, his eyes narrowing with suspicion. However, Harry's assertion that he was a close friend of Rich eventually convinced Martin, though not without caution. He instructed one of his goons to escort Harry inside to ensure his story checked out. As Harry stepped into the dimly lit interior, his heart raced. The moment his gaze landed on Katya, her eyes widened in shock. "Coach," she gasped instinctively. The thug accompanying Harry immediately sensed that something was amiss and turned toward them. In an instant, Harry seized the opportunity, tackling the man to the ground with swift precision. With the thug incapacitated, Harry hurried to free Katya from her restraints. "Gather the other girls," he urged urgently. They moved toward an underground exit, determined to slip away before reinforcements could arrive. Just as they thought they had made their escape, Rich appeared, a gun gripped tightly in his hand. His voice was icy and menacing as he spoke. "You should have stayed out of my business, Coach." Harry turned to face Rich, a fire igniting in his eyes. There was no trace of fear now, only anger and unwavering resolve. As Rich raised his weapon, preparing to pull the trigger, the distant wail of police sirens filled the air. Detective Jones and his team burst through the doors, weapons drawn and ready for action. A flurry of shots rang out amidst the chaos, and in the ensuing struggle, Rich fell to the ground while his men surrendered. The human trafficking ring that had shattered countless lives was finally brought to light. As the dust settled, Harry spotted Katya huddled in a corner, her expression a mix of relief and disbelief. She rushed into his arms, tears streaming down her cheeks as she whispered, "You came for me." Detective Jones approached Harry with a weary smile. "You did good," he said, though a hint of concern lingered in his voice. "But something tells me this isn't over. I've got another case, and I could use your help," Harry sighed, a half-smile creeping onto his face. "Yeah," he replied softly. "One last job." With that, the screen faded to black. Thank you for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.